can answer that for the President. It's for him.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer. It will be.
Our President will respond to you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on around a quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me.
Influence, move with a practice grin, shaking hands with the lights that dim. The White House walls heard his claim to fame, but the shadows whispered a different name. Oh, am I false? So what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Pretending blind to the cries at home, while the streets of SA ache and moan. Right, the man with the golden hue, but the deal fell flat and the lies broke through. Oh, am I fool? So what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Closed doors, the mask came off. No suits, no ties, just shadows aloft. The past screams loud from a buried ground. Now the silence breaks with a deafening sound. Oh, am I false? So what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. What's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. The horrors rise from a nation torn. Whispers turn to cries of scorn. History's weight won't stay concealed. Every wound must one day heal. Oh, am I false? So what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. What's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You pay.
And they're doing precisely what we said we as South Africans should not do. We should stop running to other countries. We should discuss our own problems here.
Golden hair blazing in the sun's fierce light. A figure stands tall in the dead of night. Shadows crawl, but he doesn't sway. A sentinel guarding the break of day. Through the air, defender of dreams and the world's despair, facing storms with an unyielding grin. The fight for truth always starts within. Stand tall, golden hair in the wind. The tides may rise, but we won't give in. So bright, leading us all to the end. a vision of might. Foes gather aiming from every side, but he moves with purpose and endless pride. Try to break him with venom and lies, but he soared like an eagle, piercing the skies. A symbol of hope when the night is long, a melody rising, a defiant song. Stand tall, golden hair in the wind. The tides may rise, but we won't give in. Through the chaos, a beacon so bright, leading us all to the edge of the
Good evening, America. Unless you're watching from California, then maybe not so good. Just kidding. Sort of, it's your favorite president, some say the best ever. And tonight, I've got a few things to say. So grab your popcorn, turn off the fake news, and let's talk about what's really going on. It's going to be good, really good.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Good afternoon to all the Neanderthals, the canines, the right-wing podcasters, and the aspiring car guards out there. Welcome back to the program. It is Thursday, June 26, 2025. Quite a busy day as usual, momentous day. Lots happening today. Cyril Ramaphosa sacked the Deputy Trade Minister, Andrew Whitfield, a rather smart person, someone whom I've met and interviewed in the past while in South Africa. And cracks in the government national unity are appearing once again. But I'm going to lead this story today, not with that. Also, the arrest of one of the senior police officials is in South Africa. That's happening. But I am going to read this joint media statement issued by a delegation of Afrikaners in the United States. Senior portions of it. A senior delegation of Afrikaner leaders held a constructive and high-level meeting today in Washington, D.C. with senior officials from the White House, including representatives. This is from yesterday, by the way. From the Office of the Vice President, the National Security Council, the Homeland Security Council. That delegation included Dr. Corné Mulder, leader of the Freedom Front Plus, Dr. Theo de Jager, the chief executive, or the chairman of the Southern African Agri Initiative, and chief executive of the National Employers Association of South Africa, NISA, Mr. Gerard Poppenfuss. That's the delegation that went over there. I'm still waiting to hear about an interview with these folks. So this is what they say happened. And now none of this is incongruent with things I've been telling you for months now, but it's not comprehensive or all-encompassing, but it is informative. So let's just get to that, folks. During the meeting, U.S. officials communicated the administration's official position regarding the necessary preconditions for the normalization of bilateral relationships between the United States and South Africa. These are the preconditions before we will consider normalizing relations between U.S. and South Africa. And therefore, what I have to say to South Africa is you are screwed because these things will not be met. They will not be met. It's no way that the ANC is going to adopt these measures that the U.S. government has said must be adopted in order for the United States to normalize relations. I guarantee they will not do these things. It's just impossible. Their constituents would go nuts. Number one, and these are all things I've said must be done. And this isn't a comprehensive list. This is just a prerequisite. The classification of farm attacks as a priority crime. White House officials point out that the currently farm attacks are not addressed with the same urgency and resources as rhino poaching and cash in transit heist. Each farm attack should be investigated by the Hawks. Number one. Number two, a clear and unequivocal public condemnation by the African National Congress, not by the government, by the African National Congress, of kill the boer, kill the farmer, whether used in song or any other context. Number 3, no land expropriation without fair market compensation. Expropriation should only proceed after all legal processes have been fully exhausted. And number 4, the exemption of U.S. entities from black economic empowerment requirements. Any race-based legislation that may constitute a non-tariff trade barrier should not apply to U.S. entities. So some people are saying, well, why would they only do that and not care about South Africans? Because this is about the relationship with South Africa. Our relationship with South Africa is not predicated on whether it treats you right or wrong from the standpoint of BE, but it is tied to the trade barriers. And these are trade barriers requiring, for example, Elon Musk and Starlink to give 30% of their equity to unqualified, non-participating people based on their skin color is simply theft. It's theft. It's theft. The South African government has no right to demand that a foreign company that puts its equity there give it to someone based on skin color. Now, if they're saying you had to give it to South Africans, that's a different story. That's immoral, but it's legal. But to do so and claim it has to go to somebody based on the fact that they're black is illegitimate, and we will not tolerate that, the U.S. government. So there you go, folks. There you go. All right. So those are the preconditions according to the Afrikaner delegation. I don't know how the South African government is going to respond to it. I have no independent confirmation that this is what the U.S. government has agreed to. I wasn't present in the meetings. I have not had a chance to interview these gentlemen yet. They did promise to let me interview them. I'm hoping that would happen, but it has not happened as of yet. Welcome to the program. Be sure to hit the like button if you don't mind, folks. Let's get it started very early with the likes. This is what, the 5th live stream today? Something like that. Let me take a quick gander here. We had to do 2 this morning. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our 5th live stream this morning. 43 minutes, 24 minutes, 1 hour, 21 minutes, and now this live stream. Whew, that's on top of yesterday's 3 or 4 live streams. Yesterday, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 yesterday. Wow. Anyway, busy day. All right. I also want to thank everybody who's watching my Zimbabwe lecture that I took that was from 2019 that I edited and put up online. Apologies for the poor quality, but that's the condition of the original video. And so thank you for that. That video is doing all right. That's the best performing video I had in a week. So it's over 40,000 views. Thank you for that. Nella Schmidt just gave 140 Rand super chat. Thank you for that, Nella. Tips to give to the car guards. Thank you for that. Thank you. Yeah, they will not adhere to those requirements. Therefore, the relationship with the United States is dead. It is a dead letter issue. Well, let's talk about the South African government and what they're claiming today in the midst of all the other things going on. So here you have the smirking Kumbutsu Ncheveni, who sat there like an arrogant, uncaring asshat in the Oval Office smirking the entire time that Kill the Boer was playing in the background. She says that South Africa doesn't have an anti-West position or policy. That's an utter lie. Thank you, Vilma, for your 8 months of membership. That's a complete lie. Of course, the ANC has an anti-Western position. That's why they've undermined the U.S. by training Chinese combat pilots in South Africa to shoot down U.S. and Western aircraft. That's why they have allowed the Chinese communists to get unfettered access to South Africa's marketplace. That is why they have done so many things contrary to our interest, including refusing to issue an Article 98 waiver for the Rome Statute to our soldiers. That is why they've conducted military training exercises with the Russians, who are sanctioned because of a war in Ukraine, and with the Chinese off the coast of South Africa. That is why so many other things. They are very much anti-Western. They can lie about it. They want our money. They want our handouts. They want our technology. And they want to tell us to foot-sec while we give them everything. President Cyril Ramaphosa's participation in the G7 shows that Pretoria does not hold an anti-West policy position and is ready to work with any country to pursue South Africa's national interests. Simply untrue. If South Africa doesn't hold an anti-West policy position and is willing to work with every country in the world, explain to me why, since April 3rd, there is still no South African ambassador in Washington. There is no special envoy from South Africa in Washington. There is no trade representative in Washington to negotiate a bilateral trade deal, and there is no trade negotiating team. Why is South Africa waiting patiently for day 14 to arrive from today when your tariffs will jack up from 10% to 31%? Still talking about AGOA. There is no AGOA. It's dead and buried. Move on. My goodness. My goodness. Unbelievable. But yes, the Kumbutsu Ncheveni, your behavior in the Oval Office speaks volumes. Sitting there smirking while that video was playing. The callous indifference to the torture and murder of people because they happen to be white. Shameful people. Ramaphosa has sacked Andrew Whitfield. He shuffled his cabinet and dumped Andrew Whitfield. Ramaphosa's spokesperson, Vincent Magwenya, confirmed Whitfield's axing, but said Ramaphosa did not indicate any intention to conduct a wholesale cabinet reshuffle. Yeah, no, it's just getting rid of the DA. So once again, the DA shows it has no influence whatsoever. Andrew Whitfield is not corruption accused. He wasn't involved with BBS. He wasn't involved with Digital Vibes. He's not involved in the Vreda Dairy Farm or the asbestos tender or the National Lottery. All these crooks that are sitting in South Africa's government. And this guy is removed for what? For asking questions about the corruption in the lotto program. That's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. The Herald was the first to report this morning. You know this newspaper, disreputable newspaper that outed Santana Hurley and damaged her life. Ramaphosa acts as DA's Whitfield as Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry. Presidency can confirm that in terms of Section 93, Paragraph 1 of the Constitution, President Ramaphosa has removed Andrew Whitfield from the position of Deputy Minister for Trade, Industry and Competition. The President has thanked the former Deputy Minister for the time he served in that role. Though the removal of Whitfield came amid calls for Ramaphosa to fire Higher Education Minister Nobule Nkabane over the handling of the botched CETA board appointments, Magwenya said there was no indication there would be a cabinet reshuffle. It's believed that Ramaphosa's axing Whitfield was probably linked to a trip to the U.S. by the DA delegation. Ramaphosa is said to have warned Whitfield against being part of the delegation led by the DA's Emma Powell, but he disregarded the warning. Well, so now Sir Ramaphosa determines where citizens in South Africa can travel to. I guess so. But it's not tied to that. This is tied to Whitfield asking uncomfortable questions about Paul Mashatile and his family's alleged corrupt involvement in the National Lotto. That's what this is most likely tied to, folks. Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield has been fired for insubordination. Yes, what insubordination? Going to America? Wow. And you don't hate the West. He acted against the wishes of the president, even went as far as misleading the U.S. about our policies. Misleading government about your policies. Wow. No, that's untrue. Your policies are crap, and he simply stated the facts. Well, he can't handle the truth, folks. Can't handle the truth. Well, John Steenhuisen was livid in Parliament earlier, but the DA is not backing out because they're desperate for craven political power. They'll stay in the GNU, despite becoming even weaker in it. Despite one of its deputy ministers being axed, the DA has given its full support to the budget. During Thursday's debate on the Division of Revenue bill, DA leader John Steenhuisen said the ball is now in the president's court and he must show us now that he's a man of his word. It'd be very easy for a party that had been treated with such disdain by a coalition partner to vote against this bill. But precisely because we are nothing like the ANC, the DA will always put South Africa's interest over narrow party interests. We'll vote for this bill, not for politics, but for South Africa. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got you. Sure. Stand on principle. That's exactly what the ANC expected. That's why they fired Whitfield today, because they knew they'd get away with it because they needed your votes in the budget. And they knew you wouldn't cave. You would vote with them. So Whitfield is gone. Highest form of hypocrisy, says Steenhuisen. Yes, as he tackles Ramaphosa over the Whitfield axing. Yeah, wow. MK Party's Wesley Douglas says his party rejects the bill because it's a weapon of elite patronage. He says we've got to take the land back. More racist land thieves, MK. Steenhuisen accused Ramaphosa of hypocrisy of the highest form. He says it would be very easy to vote against this, but he didn't. He said Whitfield was doing his job, including asking questions about the lottery's tender award. And there's the true reason he was fired. Are the people of South Africa to accept that fraudsters remain while Whitfield is removed? Steenhuisen says it's a double standard as there are people involved in VBS and people implicated in state capture who continue to sit around the cabinet table. Yep, this is a calculated assault on the second largest party in the governing coalition. Steenhuisen says the facts of the matter reject the flimsy reasoning. He says Whitfield requested permission, but he didn't receive a response. House Chairperson Cedric Froelich asked the ANC to quiet down. Whitfield then wrote to Ramaphosa to apologize if he caused offense, but received no response. This is all just nonsense. And if the ANC thinks that this is going to add to their relationship with Washington, they're dumb as a box of rocks. Dumb a box of rocks. Idiots. Crime Intelligence Chief has been arrested. Lieutenant General. It said he was the Major General earlier. Now he's a Lieutenant General. Dumisani Kumalo was arrested at the airport. Wow. He's been arrested, but we cannot provide further details. Well, there you go. Here he is listed as a Major General, but he's actually a Lieutenant General. We can't kill mining for fresh air. Gwede Mantashe says, deal with the asthma, the chronic pulmonary disorders. Deal with them. Deal with them. We're going to burn, baby, burn. Minister of Mineral and Petroleum Resources Gwede Mantashe said that minerals mining can't be killed for the sake of fresh air, as he again threw his weight behind the revival of shale gas exploration in the Karoo. Mozambique supplies 85% of South Africa's natural gas, but its reserves are set to be depleted by next year, with a sharp decline in gas supplies. Well, in the words of Gwede Mantashe, if they don't give us the money, we won't give them minerals. We can't kill mining just so we have fresh air. Ronnie Lamola downplays the absence of the U.S. in Sherpa meeting, but raises concerns about geopolitical conflict. Oh, there he is, Ronnie Lamola, the most incompetent after Angie Macheka. The U.S. is the only country in the bloc that failed to send a representative to the 3-day G20 Sherpa meeting, which started yesterday. Lamola, the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, emphasized that countries represented in the summit were proceeding with business. He said the U.S. Sherpa failed to attend the summit because they were attending the NATO summit in The Hague. Lamola said the U.S. sent an apology a few days ago to inform them that they could not participate in the meeting as it coincided with the NATO summit. Well, there you go. So, nothing to see here, folks. Or is there? Or is there something to see here? I don't know. Maybe. Jacob Zuma is taking Sir Ramaphosa to court, still trying to get back into the African National Congress. Are you an MK or are you in the ANC? This guy is just obsessed with this nonsense. Look at these two cackling hyenas. Yep. It was indeed the sellout tendencies of those traitors which led to the formation of the MK party and the removal of the ANC from power 5 months later. Yeah, he's trying to rejoin but the courts have no role in this. Stop it. The Eastern Cape has pledged 5 billion rand flood fund accountability. Well, real Oscar Mabuyane, I don't think we're going to see much accountability in your province. I wish to assure the people of our province, South Africa, we are committed to ensuring financial accountability. It's our responsibility as the province's leadership collective, both at provincial and local government, to ensure transparency and accuracy in financial records and reporting. From the ANC? From the ANC? Yeah. Well, by-elections took place, and different parties did well in different parts. The Patriotic Alliance took its first ever Mossel Bay Award. Wow, the PA has won an award in Mossel Bay. The DA and ANC retained awards in Tshwane and Knysna. Wow. Patriotic Alliance won its first award in Mossel Bay with 51.5% of the vote. The DA retained Ward 56 in Tshwane with 80%, and the ANC secured Ward 8 in Knysna with 52% of the vote. The DA retained Ward 56, which is Hatfield. Yep, 80% of the vote. The ward councillor will now be Etienne Deepanar. There you go. So, by-elections. Tshwane Speaker has survived a vote of no confidence. Motion no confidence in Tshwane Speaker Mditsi Nditswanana failed. He survived the motion with 114 votes against his removal. 82 for, 1 abstaining, 114 against. He said, I give council my assurance that I have my own political party that represent council, and ever since I was elected as speaker, I had the opportunity to represent my party in all opportunities. The African Transformation Movement doesn't want this, and does want that, but I choose to be speaker and choose to be criticized. Okay, well, a nothing party has that position. Well, the death toll in Kenya from protests continues to rise, folks. Thousands of people turned out on Wednesday to protest government corruption, police brutality. Look at this mess here in Nairobi. Just making a mess and burning people's shops out. How does that help? Stones and debris littered the streets of Kenya's business district in Nairobi. As a leading human rights group said, the death toll from nationwide protests had climbed to 16. Thousands of people turned out across Kenya on Wednesday to protest government corruption, police brutality, many waving Kenyan flags and chanting that President Ruto must go. Look at this. Demonstrators in Nairobi. Things are not looking good. Police officer firing his weapon during protests. Good Lord. That's indiscriminate. Crazy. Well, a Chinese-Moroccan project is producing EV battery materials. A Sino-Moroccan company, Copco, said Wednesday it had begun production at a plant for lithium-ion battery components in Yorf Lasfar, 125 kilometers south of Casablanca. It's a joint venture. Centrifuges at Fordo no longer operational according to the United Nations, and therefore they can't let the UN in. Raphael Grossi told French radio that there was no escaping significant physical damage after the U.S. dropped bunker buster bombs on the Iranian facility. And here's a photograph. Wow. Centrifuges at the Fordo uranium enrichment plant in Iran are no longer operational after the United States attacked the facility with bunker-busting bombs. Evaluating the damage from strikes using satellite imagery alone is difficult, Mr. Grossi told Radio France International. But given the power of the bombs and the technical characteristics of the plant, we already know that these centrifuges are no longer operational. There's no escaping significant physical damage, so we can come to a fairly accurate technical conclusion. But apparently CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, the Washington Compost, none of them can come to that conclusion. The housekeeper who burnt a Greek aisle. She'd been smoking, a Greek official said of a Georgian woman who was arrested after a blaze tore through 11,000 acres of Chios this week. Fires collectively consumed more than 11,000 acres. The 35-year-old housekeeper was arrested in Greece on Tuesday in connection with the devastating wildfires that tore across the island of Chios. She'd been smoking. Vasily Vrathanokianis, spokesman for the Hellenic Fire Service, said of the housekeeper, who was a Georgian woman. 5 blazes, the first of which broke out on Sunday, collectively consumed more than 11,000 acres. Wow. Summer wildfire season. Look at these cars destroyed. It's one of the largest islands in the Aegean Sea, known for resin-producing mastic trees, which hardly grow anywhere else in the world. Used for things like pharmaceuticals, beauty products, and liquor, the trees are a critical driver for the local economy. So, smoking, cigarettes, torching the place. Iran's Ayatollah Khamenei was seen in public for the first time in days, quieting fears that he is gone. Supreme Leader strikes a defiant tone in a video statement after not being heard or seen for days. Iran's Supreme Leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, congratulated Iranians for what he described as the victory over Israel and the United States in a defiant video message that appeared to be his first public statement since U.S. warplanes bombed his nuclear capacity. A victory. Your definition of victory is pretty weird there, buddy. The Pentagon details how bunker buster bombs hit Iran's Fordo nuclear site. We covered that earlier this morning. If you want to know what's going on at Fordo, you better go there and get a big shovel because no one else is under there right now, says Pete Eggset. Woo, baby. Tell it like it is. The U.S. planned for years to destroy that nuclear site. Joint Chiefs Chairman Dan Kane said the highly classified project began in 2009 after the discovery of Iran's construction plans inside a mountain. Yep. Remember what I said about this whole thing? That these people like the fake stream media making false claims with no evidence that the Iranians had moved physical material out of this site. They had no evidence of that. And I said that seems highly implausible. The United States watches these sites 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yep. So, yeah, it's silly. Tulsi Gabbard changes her tune after releasing false news, false intelligence, saying that there was no nuclear power site there. Now she says the nuclear power site has been destroyed, or nuclear weapon site has been destroyed after she claimed there wasn't one. New intelligence shows Iran's nuclear facilities are destroyed. If the Iranians choose to rebuild, they would have to rebuild all 3 facilities, Director of National Intelligence said. That's that's Tulsi Gabbard, excuse me. Yep. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard said yesterday that new intelligence has shown the U.S. strikes in Iran set back the country's capacity to produce nuclear weapons, disputing a report that it would only give the regime a few months' delay. Yep. So, how much energy does it take your AI prompt to use? So, data centers, which are sucking up all our power, are crazy. How much energy does it take to use AI? Quite a bit, actually, folks. So, they did a summary here. The energy required to generate content varies widely depending on the model and the graphic processor setup. Compare the findings with charging a typical smartphone, which amounts to 10 watt hours of energy. 10 watt hours to charge. So this takes 10 watt hours to charge this phone. Text. A lightweight single GPU Llama model from Meta used 0.17 watt hours, while a larger model running across multiple GPUs 1.7. Okay, so already just using text is more than charging this battery. Images. Generating a single 1024 by 1024 image with one graphics processing unit used 1.7 watt hours. So this is 10 watt hours. That's 1.7. Unless I misspoke earlier. Videos, which is the most intensive, making a 6-second standard definition video used anywhere between 20 and 110 watt hours. So I made 2 video images yesterday, so I used anywhere between 40 and 220 watt hours. And it takes 10. So I could have charged my phone 22 times the energy it took to make 2 images yesterday. Wow. That's insane. That's crazy how much energy. No wonder we're in trouble. 800, 900 people currently here. Hit the like button, folks, if you haven't done it already. And thank you for joining us on this Thursday. Apparently, they may have hidden the 60% uranium. Where are you getting your information from, Patrick? From the leftist media, which are telling stories without any substantiation whatsoever. That's supposition on their part. As I said, we are watching the sites 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do you think we were unaware that they were moving uranium out? Do you think perhaps that my analysis that we struck the day we struck prevent that stuff from being removed may be true? I mean, you heard from them that since 2009, they've had an eye on that place every day. We have dedicated analysts at CIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, and elsewhere, the the Department of Energy, who are watching that site. They can't move a light bulb out of that site without us knowing about it. Oh, bless. Stuff's coming outside here. Started learning a new language. I can now speak Wyatt. All right, so what do we got in the chat here? That's the news for today. The only thing Sandev can protect is KFC. I don't even know if they can protect KFC. I wonder how the DA Western Cape will be when they lose their majority. They're going to run for the hills. Overpriced houses will drop for sure. Possibly Arno, Olinger. Good afternoon, Joan Stewart. What's up? Steenhuisen is himself 10 sizes bigger, forgetting the main reason why his opposition party, says Conrad. Okay. DA had a window of opportunity to make the difference. Yes. Well, Cyril Ramaphosa had a window of opportunity when he came in office in 2018. I said so at the time in that great decisions brief, but he squandered it. Load shedding in the Copper Belt. Didn't know that. Freedom Front Plus in PA and the National Colored Congress took a chunk out of the DA in Cape Town. Call me Senior von Redsburg. In the future, I see hordes of black folks fighting for bags of mealie meal marked USA for Africa. Yeah. PA and Freedom Front Plus will definitely take vote share from DA next year. DA will need to think it was the GNU worth it. It wasn't. Might as well just complete their aim. They want to do minorities. What the DA should have done is just stayed out of it and let the ANC try to cobble together a coalition of 15 parties to get to the 50%. Yep. DA will believe votes. Yes, they will. Colors are dumping the DA. I think they are. I've never seen a country hand out titles for no reason the way South Africa does. We have generals whose biggest battles were tying their shoelaces. I think their biggest battle is getting over their belly to reach their shoes. Ramaphosa is playing with fire. Without the DA, he's a goner. DA, EFF, MK are 44%. 6% needed to show him the door. Yep. The DA is gone, as you like to say. Their behavior is a disgrace, says Daffa Will. Yep. Johan de Bruyne, welcome to you. The DA is only in the GNU to keep the EFF and MK out. That's nonsense. See, that doesn't fly. First off, David, look at that doesn't fly. That's not an accurate understanding of the events here. So let me be very clear about things. Okay? The MK party will never enter a coalition with the ANC. Not because they don't want one, because they will destroy the ANC. Once in that coalition, they will eat the ANC alive from the inside. And Ramaphosa knows that. So MK's out. That's 14% he can't get. Gone. Not going to happen. The EFF is a minor party. They're under 10%. And even with the EFF and the ANC together, they're still short of 50%. They still need a couple smaller parties to give them a couple more representatives to get to the 201 votes that they need to control Parliament. So EFF has too big an ego. It will not last. If they let the EFF in a coalition, Malaya's just going to act like a fool all the time, and there's no way they're going to tolerate that. So it's not going to happen. So that was never going to happen, and that was my analysis at the time, and I stand by that analysis. It's even less likely now. So the DA held all the cards, and they did negotiate as if they had a strong bargaining position, which is exactly what they had. USA will take notice of a minister being fired for questioning corruption. Just enforce everything USA knows about our banana government. Spot on. A box of rocks can be useful, but not the ANC. Denying kill the boar in the White House while the ANC are condemning the chant right in front of them, or not condemning it right in front of them. Yep. Pure theater. Yep. If I was DA, I'd approach Malema and do the motion of no confidence in Pinocchio. Yeah, well, I mean, I have no problem with that, but what do you get in its place? Mashatile? DA says Brofox, thank you, they were able to stop the increase of bread prices. What? Had a lawyer friend that worked for the Royal Bafokeng tribe, and he was fired when he asked the wrong questions. See? There you go. Yes, have you met my white minister? The DA will be remembered. Their legacy will be in entrenching the ANC into power, because now the ANC is growing in popularity again. Herman Mashaba. No, that's not the solution. Dump DA deputy minister to make space for someone like Mashaba or Musa Maimani. Promises made during budget vote. And now, sorry to say, but for someone not living in South Africa, some of these Afrikaners are effed up. They do not want other Afrikaners to do what they need to do. Your area might be safer. Who are you talking about, Anel? What did somebody say? Arno Olanger, thank you for your membership. Wi-Fi is bad. Sorry to hear that, Lenny. Michael Marks, is the story I heard of a B-2 bomber having been shot down true? That's false. Where'd you hear that at? That's a false narrative. I never heard that story. Ron Thunderspool is in. Welcome from Bloemfontein. Ron, how's it going? Jared, hello, sir. How are you doing? I'm fine, Jared. Thank you. And Days of Thunder, thank you for the 140 Rand super chat. Vodacom has restored my mobile service today without explanation. This after I asked them to put an email of reasons why. If you can send me something and I can prove it, then I will go after them. But I got to be very careful. I can't just attack them if I don't have any evidence. But maybe Vodacom is watching my channel too. We know that the Back and Buddy was watching it. They responded pretty quickly when I raised questions about their servers. I say let it be come what may. If Ron Post doesn't want to listen to the ANC, I just feel sorry for our citizens. Yeah, it's messed up. Okay, USA presidents came and went, but Trump will be remembered. That's true. He will be remembered, but not by the left, not in a good way. Right. That's great to hear that it's restored Days of Thunder, but I don't know how they pull that crap. That's nothing. Sailing Fishing just gave 40 Rand super chat. Thank you for that. Boy, folks, it's been quite a day, and I've got videos to make here. I've got to make a number of videos. It's gonna be crazy. My day's not gonna end here. Cupcake is captured. If he does not toe the line, well, that's what I've always said. He's weak. That's why his cabinet was full of Zuma stalwarts when he formed it in 2018. Dion Vilkin says, Chris, you missed this. The USA must purchase South African land based on market value. Huh? What am I missing there? I don't even, why is USA buying land? Picked up something interesting. Steenhuisen shaking his head at the yeah, I saw that. The dimming of the lights. Yep. Need my email urgent. Well, folks, the one of the mods can put the email address in there. If you can't find it on the channel. If you can't find it on the channel, they'll put it in there, okay? One of the mods put it in. I think we got some mods. Mad Max is here. Who else? Any other mods? Eric is here. Maybe one of the mods can put that in there. Yeah, so, wow, what a day. I mean, we're not even, it's still here in East Coast. It's just lunchtime. And what a crazy day. By the way, I want to thank, so there's the email. Hendo put it there. I didn't see Hendo here. Thank you, Hendo. So I've had poor video performance of late for prepared videos, but one that's surprisingly doing better than I would have anticipated is my video on Zimbabwe from when I spoke a couple years ago. That one's at 41,000 views, 291 new subscribers. That's incredible. I mean, for something that I did in 2019, 6 years ago, and that's pretty cool. Wow. Thank you all for that. Really do appreciate that. It's still taking off. Hopefully it will continue for a few more hours and maybe get better, because it's been a slow roll. My last 100,000 has been, gosh, my last 100,000 videos a while ago now. June 17th, nothing there. June 15th. So 11 days since I had a 100,000 view video, and I was getting 2 or 3 a day at one point there. So come on, YouTube, stop not promoting my content. Let's start promoting it again. Okay. Alrighty. So must be scrapped entirely. Buster, I agree with you. Sorry, Chris, I'm just had it with the people in the other channels. Sorry again, switching between channels and commenting on the wrong one. Oh, okay. Now, what's the other channel you're watching? What's the other channel you're watching? Go back and copy the text so you can paste it in the other channel. Yeah, we're over 104,000 subscribers. We just went over that a short while ago. 104,000, but it's much slower than it was for a while there. Yeah, so thank you guys for that. Hey, Robert Franklin Moore is back. Good to see you again there. Drunken Yoda's in. What's up in Atlanta, man? What's up in Georgia? Sweet Georgia on my mind. Yep. The devil went down to Georgia. Yep. Charlie Daniels. Please greet my mom, Marina. I told her you're awesome. Monza. Okay. Hello. Is Rena there with you? Rena, greetings from central Pennsylvania. I hope that all is well. Aujourd'hui, c'est le jeudi. C'est très joli, le jeudi pendant la semaine. C'est le jeudi parce que ça, c'est la jour avant, le dernier jour de la semaine. Ça, c'est vendredi. Tout le monde est toujours heureux pour le vendredi. Yeah, welcome to you, Rena. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching the program. Hello to you. Brooke R. Hello, Brooke. Jeremy's in from Indonesia. If USA purchased farms, can you imagine? Oh, gotcha. Trying to grab it. That's what I meant. Gotcha. Okay, well, it wasn't clear. Thank you for sharing that, Dion Vulcan. Yeah, well, that's why I don't buy any land in South Africa. I mean, I can afford land in South Africa. I can't afford it here. I can afford land, but I'm not buying land in South Africa because it'll just be stolen. Well, Jacques saying it's not about, but the ANC is not Zulu. The ANC is predominantly historically been Xhosa based, but they do have a lot of Zulus. But they've lost them; they're gone. So they're not going to stand together with the ANC because Zuma will eat the ANC from the inside, and that's not going to happen. Pat's Pat. How's it going? Sailing, fishing, shooting adventures. Do you think the Iranian regime will be replaced? I think there's a chance, but I thank you, Alan McGonigal. I think there's a chance, but I can't say for sure. Sorry, got in late, so you're just not coming. No. That's not what's going on. This is the Sherpa event. It's taking place right now. It's a conference, part of much what takes place in the G20. This is one of many conferences, and the U.S. is not there because the people that are supposed to be at it were in the Netherlands. So, no, it's not the same thing. G20 is not till November. Now the Bourmaisis fall for you with the French. Raven Foncoy. Je ne crois pas, parce que la plupart des gens qui ne peuvent pas parler le français, c'est une langue étrangère pour la plupart des gens. Donc, selon moi, c'est vraiment impossible pour les Bourmaisis, parce qu'ils ne parlent pas le français. Donc, je peux dire quelque chose aussi la merde. Donc, personne comprend. Well, personne comprend. All right. Rihanna says Chris is speaking foreign. Ja, sicher. Ja, das kann ich jeden Tag auf andere Sprache sprechen. Ja, besonders auf Französisch und Deutsch. Ja, aber Afrikaans ist ein bisschen mehr schwer für mich und nicht so einfach. Tja, grüß Gott, Gerhard van Rooyen, unser neuer Anhänger. Und Piet Lundy hat uns 35 südafrikanische Rand gegeben. Ich bedanke mich. Also, das ist sehr nett. Und er hat gesagt, dass ich Nummer 1 bin. Ja, fabelhaft. French always sounds angry. Doesn't sound angry. I don't know. Can't even speak French in self-defense. La mad. Mad. Okay. Hey, what's going on there, Sonia Gare? Stop. She says stop. Translates to good evening, Bormaisi. I'd like to speak to you about your extended warranty. Yeah. You guys are killing me, man. You're killing me with that stuff. You're killing me. Anyway. Oh, my goodness. It doesn't translate for Bormaisi. That is not what it says. That is not what it says. Nice try, man. Nice try. Oh, my goodness. Hello? No, I think you got the wrong number. Andrew Whitfield is the former Deputy Minister of Trade in South Africa. This is the wrong number. Where'd you get this number? No, I don't know anybody named John Steenhuisen. No. Name is unknown to me. No. Cheers. It's these phone calls, man. Who are these people? Who are these people? I have no idea who they are. No idea. Afrikaans is similar to German. It is Teresa Mostart, and Mostart is a German name. Yep. Grüß Gott, Herr Russell Graz. Graz, if you want to get it correct, it's Grüß Gott, Herr Oberst. My cat got a fright. They scared your cat. Sorry about that. They got that rumor from 1994. No, that's the old Nokia ringtone, man. Yeah, suspicious call. I get lots of suspicious calls, man. This thing rings nonstop. That's why I turn the darn thing off. You know, it just rings all the time. It rings all the time, man. It just never stops. I'm telling you. The heck? That's the other phone. Where's the other phone at? Oh, okay, here's the other phone. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. We have no bananas today. Footsec. Yeah, these people just calling up with nonsense, man. Just crazy. Any way of supporting your work via BT's Bitcoin? I don't do Bitcoin. You can do, if you do cash, you can do PayPal. I do PayPal. Thank you so much for the interviews of the 59ers. It's so awesome to hear that they're doing well. Well, they're all doing pretty well. One group wasn't doing so great, but they're doing okay now. But the rest of them are doing pretty well. But what I like is all of them appreciate that this isn't a free ride. They're not going to get all this help. They've got to get moving and getting it taken care of. Work with that ringtone back in 1895 in oil rig off Clarkstorp. Evening, just a quick one. Not waiting for a call from embassy, carrying on with life, and the crap hits a fan. Okay, Clarence Keene, thank you for the update. DA issues 48-hour ultimatum with the unjust firing. Okay, where's that ultimatum at? I didn't see that in the press. Keep doing your thing. I really enjoy your channel and share it every now and then on my Twitter feed. Thank you, George Pelzer. These days, crap seems to be the norm, so your channel, the truth, is like fresh breeze. Well, thank you for that. I try. Well, I don't try, I succeed, but certainly put a lot of effort into it. And Odette de Jager just gave, 35 minutes. Super sticker. And then Nella Schmidt comes with one after that, so thank you for that. And there's Nella Schmidt's Chris, imagine not knowing your channel and then hearing all these foreign stuff. Tu as raison, parce que si quelqu'un arrive aujourd'hui, pas dans l'avenir, par exemple 2020, mais c'est vraiment difficile pour comprendre qu'est-ce qui s'est passé ici parce que c'est un canal de YouTube, donc on pense d'habitude ça c'est en anglais, mais si c'est pas en anglais, c'est en français. En français? Oui, il y a des gens qui parlent en français sur la YouTube, c'est possible. Oui, c'est possible. Mais il n'y a pas beaucoup de gens qui regardent ces choses comme ça. Mais qu'est-ce qu'on dit? J'ai rien de faire avec ces choses-là. Tiens, okay. Gabriel Stoltz. Hi, Colonel. A small donation from an IT guy towards a purchase of an UPS so that your live streams don't... I have an UPS. They don't work. They do not work. They never work. I've been buying UPS for 35 years. They never work. The only UPS in my house that works is the one that's in the front that kept the damn router on. That router stayed on. But this is a 850 watt freaking CP or power supply in here, and I can't find one that they never. It's charging. I got an UPS right there. It's a big ass UPS right there, and it's from APC, American Power Conversion, and it sucks. I've never had a single UPS that's ever kept, except in the Army. In the Army is the only place I had an UPS where they actually work. They don't work, man. But thank you for the 70 Rand. That's a small step towards it. To get one that would cost me about $400 that might work, but they never work. What I really need is to, and I'm not going to spend $10,000 to do this, is have batteries for my solar panels so that when I generate excess, it charges the batteries and then the rest goes in the grid because it just goes off. Did you get the merch design? I got something, Marley, from you. Yep, I did get something from you. I didn't have a chance to go through it. My ups are mostly downs. Julie, thank you. Thank you for becoming a member. Staying with that ringtone scared Romeo. Is your cat's name Romeo? Sorry about that, Julie. Amish speak Pennsylvania Dutch, which isn't Dutch, it's German, but the Anglos couldn't pronounce Deutsch, so they said Dutch. 3,000 watt ups. Yeah, well, you know what that cost? About $3,000. Janine, thank you for your membership. Yep. Rather get an inverter better than ups. That's just a battery. My husband sounds French when he blows off steam. Bourmeises fall for you because of the cute Afrikaans. Watch out, Chris. Be careful. Speak French. It's safer. Ik praat niet Afrikaans nie. Nee, ach nee. Ik praat niet Afrikaans nie. Nokia ringtone for my first Nokia. Yeah, no doubt. Please give us updates on what their struggles were. The 59ers, did they take their time to start working? Was it a mindset issue expecting handouts, or did they have trouble adjusting? None that I've talked to admit that they were expecting handouts, so I don't think so. None of them take their time. In fact, Thea was looking for work the moment she arrived, but she needed a Social Security number, so she actually had interviews set up and didn't have a Social Security number. So she went to interviews and didn't have a Social Security number, and they said, okay, once you have a Social Security number, call us back, and she's working. Why don't you have a good laptop? I have a great laptop. What are you talking? Why don't I have a great laptop? I have a great laptop. I bought one before the tariffs came into effect. When Trump was elected in November 5th, I bought my laptop just a day or two after that. Alan McGonigal's back. When did you last check the batteries, replace them? Alan, out of the box, brand new, with the date on the battery in the back, which is less than a year old when I bought the damn thing a couple years ago. They didn't work. The power went out. They didn't work. But it's a good question. You're on the right track here, but they never work. They just never work. They never work. And the meter tells me the battery's charged. Nella's foreign language, 70 Rand. Thank you for that, Nella. Jeg forstår ikke fransk. Morten Lindqvist is sharing his Swedish with us. He speaks French. Yep. Jeg forstår ikke fransk. Yeah. No, my Swedish is not very good. No, I can't speak the Swedish. No, I saw a report in the news on X where somebody claimed that these bleachy blonde Swedish ladies were banging these immigrants and sharing confidential information. And it turns out they're all police. They're police. They're sleeping with these Somalis and these other folks and giving them information. And it led to the murder of other people from rival gangs. These white ladies sleep with all these immigrants. I don't know if it's true or it's just made up. It was one of these news reports on X. You know, you can't trust everything on X. My inverter's the bomb. Never had load shedding in 3 years. That's awesome, man. Don't do solar. ANSI will charge you. Well, not here, Stan. No one's charged me. You just said some of them were doing... Oh, no. There was a family. Okay. There was a family who were outed in Montana by a lady who made a TikTok saying that they were starving. They had no telephone. And then she made... The reason I commented on it was because she got snarky. Well, I want to be humanitarian, help them, but you know... Oh, they don't deserve to be here. I mean, they're whining about everything. So I made a video about that, and that turned into a whole thing. Anyway, so that family was, and then it was picked up by the Flying Monkey crowd and said, oh, look, all these Afrikaners are starving in America, which is lies. The story is a little more complicated and in-depth than that people were led to believe. I contacted the family. I was put in touch with them. They spoke to me. I saw that, we talked on, but not putting on YouTube. But we talked, and by the time we talked, which is a couple of days after that, they had a phone. That's how I talked to them on their phone. They had food. They had sorted some things out. They had just had a very poor refugee caseworker, and they chose to go to a place that was not well supported by that. And their request was accommodated. They got to go where they wanted to go. They went to Montana. So they were outed. I didn't even say where they were, but these people kept mentioning where they're at. So everybody knows they're in Montana now. But yeah. Need to get you a welcome bunny. The bell keeps waking my Malinois, and it's hell to get him peace. What is a Malinois? I guess that's a dog. 59ers got further in 2 months than most people do in 2 years. Yeah, Flying Dutchman. That's very good. Further than most people have gotten in 20 years in South Africa. Yep. My wife was actively hunting for 3 years before she secured a job for a quarter of what her industry should pay. Exactly. My underwater Hebrew gets better with every glass of wine. Take a lot will have the adapters, and you can buy Cape Union Mart, even airport. Adapters for what? What adapters? What adapters are we looking for here, folks? Oh, I'm sorry, Morten Lindqvist. Was that Norsk? I'm sorry, it was Norwegian. Wait a second. You had accent over it. I got tricked. I got punked by Norwegian. Oh, you didn't have one. Over Fursta, I thought I saw the little circle. I punked myself. Jägfoster. Okay, wow. Wow, that's Jacobus Olaf put that. Okay, I thought Lindqvist put that up there. Okay. Wait a second. Wait, there's two of you. What's with all the Scandinavian? Like button is not stuck on 20. Let's see where it's at. It's at 576. Julie says, logging into your YouTube channel is our highlight of the day. Well, thank you for that. Con de Bruyne, there is a battery capacity and then there's a kilowatt rating. Battery capacity is how long? Yeah, thank you, Con de Bruyne. I appreciate it. The battery capacity is supposed to be 15 minutes, but it's never been more than 1 second. Never worked out of the box. Yep. Oh, it was answering you for a laptop. No, I've got a good laptop, Rihanna. Yeah, so what happened with the laptop, and thank you, Pat, most of not all laptops have wide input. Yeah, they're all 110, 220, yep. You just need a plug adapter. Oh, that's what you guys are talking about. You need a plug. Yeah, that's a piece of cake, folks. Get over it. It's not a big deal. Hang on. So, here you go. So this is one. You get this in South Africa from the AAA store, whatever you call it, the AA store, or just anywhere travel store. So this is U.S., European. It doesn't have all. It does have the quick here, the angle for Australian, so you can put all those in there. And then this plugs into your big ass ones that you stick in the South African walls. I mean, these things are huge. And then it has also on the bottom it has a US. You can there's two there, and then on the top it has all of them again. So that's an adapter. That's the reverse of what you need. But you can buy the reverse of this, where these are where you pop into and it comes out the other side. Here's an older one that I've had for years, but this proved to be a problem in this last one in one of the places I was staying. The hotel that Ronaldo put me up in, which was nice, I couldn't charge my phone to use my laptop because I would put this in and the wall mount was in a place that the button was too close, because you guys have these mains where you flip the switch to turn it on. So the mains, when I push this in, you can see that that's got an overhang right there. See that overhang? And that overhang, every time that I pushed this down, it would be over the button and it would turn it off. So the hotel went and bought one of those plugs and then stuck it in the room. That's one I bought. That's not from the hotel. I didn't steal it. So these ones I have for years. They work fine for me. I got these at Ellie's, which is out of business now. Yep. Back in the day. So when you travel like I do, you have all kinds of adapters. So this one is one. This is not 110. What is it? Hang on. This one's. That's odd. What is this one? It's weird because that's German plug on that side. That's a German plug. So I'm not sure what the heck that one is. I didn't say the power switch was bad. I'm just saying that's what you have. Yeah, I'm just saying that's what you have. It's a little bit different. Yeah, anyway, I've got other adapters around here, but yeah, so you need an adapter that goes from the South African big 3 plug to the small US 3 plug. So, piece of cake. You can sort that out. Anyway, I finally figured out what's going on. I never copied those files. I copied those files off my phone onto my newer laptop because there were so many of them. And just last night, I finally copied all of them onto, where's it at? It's in the other room, I think. I copied all of them onto a C drive, solid state, and so now I have the videos in one place, so I can start looking at them and editing them. Because I have my footage from Rabi's Falls and a bunch of other places, and then the interview, or not the interview, the conversation with Vanity Toy. I haven't published that yet. I need to get that published. So, yep. Statements on the X page. Okay, thank you. Let's go to X for the Democratic Alliance. Okay. It wasn't there earlier because I went to DA earlier. That's why it's the top of my search button. Okay, let's see. Okay, here it is. Ooh, okay. John Steenhuisen. Let's see what he's got to say, folks. All right, this is the leader of the Democratic Alliance, John Steenhuisen, folks. Let's see what he's got to say.
I'm here at the Cape Town International Convention Centre, where I've just delivered a speech on the floor of the parliamentary sitting in the budget vote debate around the firing yesterday of the DA Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield by the President. And I think if we start to dig a little bit deeper into why Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield was really fired, one will see it was because he was doing his job. He was asking uncomfortable questions about the lottery tender award by the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. He had asked some very uncomfortable questions about the transformation fund that is busy being set up by that department, and he had raised serious concerns about some of the persons being nominated for the board of the IDC. I believe that these are the real reasons why Minister Whitfield has had to be moved from that position. Now, it is very clear that this cannot stand. So, we have given the President 48 hours to act similarly against the other members of his party who are guilty or facing serious charges or who are mentioned in the Zondo Commission report, to ensure that they are held accountable. If the President is wanting to clean up his cabinet, then we would like to suggest that he starts by sweeping outside his own front door before sweeping outside the DA's front door. When compared with the acts of omission and commission of so many other ministers and deputy ministers that are sitting around the cabinet table, these are people who've been implicated in the Zondo Commission of Inquiry. These are people who stand accused of very serious fraud and benefiting from the looting at the VBS Bank. These are people who stand accused of misleading Parliament and manufacturing committees that ostensibly selected politically compromised candidates for the CETA boards. How is it that all of these people retain their jobs, but Andrew Whitfield loses his? Now, we're giving the President 48 hours to show us clearly that he is a man of his word, and that when he's willing to take action against DA members, he must take concomitant action against members of his own party who are guilty of far more serious things than Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield could ever be accused of.
DA at work.
So, all right, you guys are saying John has found his voice and he's found his backbone. Really? What happens in 47 hours? What happens in 47 hours? Nothing. The DA is bluffing. The ANC will not back down. Ramaphosa will not fire anybody, and he won't reinstate Whitfield. So what happens then? So 47 hours from now, it's Thursday, 12 o'clock, Friday, Saturday. On Saturday at noon, my time, 6 p.m. your time, nothing will have happened. Nothing will have happened. So don't get too excited here, folks. I'm not criticizing Tino's. I'm just saying nothing's going to happen. Gives him 48 hours. So what? Donald Trump said he'll make a decision within 2 weeks, and 48 hours later he smacked Iran. Nothing going to happen. It's too little, too late. His words won't be backed by action because the DA has no action to take. What are they going to do? He watched my analysis. Yeah, now, isn't it funny? This video came up right after I explained that, right? An hour and a half ago, I said that. No, I mean, he's probably right. I mean, but he just said it's because he was asking the hard questions about the lotto. Isn't that what I said an hour and a half ago? Oh, that's funny. Actually, I said that several hours ago because I said it on the other broadcast. Yeah, nothing will happen. It's all talk and no action. Yep. Ironic. He borrowed Helen's balls. Is that what it is? Ironically, Whitfield got fired the same way Steenhuisen fired Kavanagh. How so, Heinrich? He won't do anything. What's the DA going to do? Nothing. Delayed actions. There you go. That's good. He's watching your channel. Oh, he does watch my channel, Julie. Apparently, he didn't used to, but I know he watches it now based on some communications I received from John Steenhuisen. Yes, Sync Master, the DA is blowing smoke. This is an own goal. To express disappointment, to express anger, to talk about the unfairness, but to issue an ultimatum. The DA is not coming from a position of strength to issue an ultimatum. 48 hours? What are they going to do? Leave the GNU? Not going to happen. They're going to go on strike? Not going to happen. Are they not going to vote with the ANC? Not going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. That's just going to look foolish, man. Yep. Oh, not giving reason, just an F off letter. Gotcha, Heinrich. Gotcha. Exactly. That's a good point. I'm gonna add that point to my analysis. You make a good point there. Have you ever met Brigadier General Schmugel from AT? What's AT? No, I've never met him. Never met him. Russell, thank you for the €5. What is AT? I don't know what AT is. Majority did not vote for any party. Exactly. I'll just talk and no action. Nothing happens. Justin has filed a motion of no confidence in Steenhuisen with the DA, but I don't think anything will happen. Oh, wow. Wow. So within the party, a motion no confidence has been filed by a member. Now his friend Cyril is not going to be happy with him. Oh, Austria, Österreich. Okay. No, Hirschschmuggel. No, from Österreich. No, I don't know him. I met some Austrian officers when I went there, but that was 30 years ago. It was 1992 when I went to Austria for an air show. And I met a colonel who was still in the Austrian Air Force who served in World War II. It's pretty wild. His father served in World War I. He was shot down as a pilot. And so he became an air defender. You're starting to sound like a proper South African now. We'll turn you into a full-blown cynic in no time. Oh, I'm already a cynic, Virtual Western Cape. Good evening. Hope you're all fit, fat, and flourishing. Well, I don't know about fit, but certainly feeling fat, that's for sure. So that's for sure, folks. So sorry to hear. Always had German Shepherds. Oh, we're talking about the dogs. Like a Chihuahua barking. Oh, that's a good analogy there. Yeah, nothing coming out of that, man. 1992, dinosaurs still roam the planet. You're excused, Ed. Dinosaurs still roam the planet. You're excused. 752 likes. Can we get that button working? Come on. Oh, hey, I didn't mean to hit that yet. Now we do it.
That was easy.
There you go. Anyway, yeah. 1992. Yes, indeed. White House has called for backup from Sandef. Cyril's not a billionaire. He's a Rand billionaire. He's not a dollar billionaire. The are confused. They must start to rename their party ANC Plus. Yeah, I reported on Zuma taking around Posa to court over getting kicked out of the ANC. That was earlier. My son sent you a few emails as he works on a farm U.S. No response from you. How else can he get hold of you? Well, okay. Is his last name also Faber? Where the hell's my mail at? Hang on. Oh, I never reopened these things. There it is. Is he also Faber? I'll do a search for a Faber. June 1st. Okay. I've answered this question a million times on air. Why are people sending me emails asking me the same question? There's only one email. You say your son sent me several emails. There's only one message here from him. One, not several. So I don't know where the other message went to. It's dated June 1st. I never saw it. So I've just sent him a response. June 1st. But there's no multiple message from the gentleman. So I don't know where he sent it. So June 1st. That's how you get in touch with me. And if I don't respond, then come and chat and say, hey, I sent you an email on this date. Yep. No, I found it. I just sent him a response. Yep. But he sent me one email. One email. Okay. Well, he may have sent more than one email, but he didn't send it to the right address. I got one. Do you believe there's a missing link between a man and ape? I do. The Cardassians. Web design just described. Thank you for that. Your 1.5 kW Chihuahua has a bigger setup. Thanks for chat. Appreciate you. Welcome, Joan. Oompa Loompa. Only reason they make these statements is to keep their jobs. Yep. I wonder if he's a big boss knows he's making videos. That's a good question. Good question. Can you say gata patata? That's not, I mean, it's probably chata. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Truly they did, Colonel. Look at the video. What are we talking? What video? Kali Creole. Oh yeah, that's a while ago. They signed it a long time ago, didn't they? I go to X. Yeah, Kali Creole. Those guys, I thought they signed it like 2-3 weeks ago. That agreement with that community. So let me find Kali. Okay, I go to Kali Creole's page. Okay. Bakalata community.
Today is a historic day because we are signing an agreement between AfriForum and the Bakgatla Bakgafela people. This is part of a broader initiative where AfriForum is signing cooperation agreements with various cultural communities across the country to form a network of cultural communities. Why this is important? Because all the people in this country, the peoples of this country, are betrayed by the ruling elite. We are seeing people suffer in rural communities as well as elsewhere. And it's important that we don't get despondent, that we say we as communities can cooperate to build mutual recognition and respect and to build a future for all our children in this country. Today is...
So, Kali, well done. Yeah, I thought that they did it some time ago. That's interesting. Is that today? It is 26 minutes ago. I guess I had advance notice. I guess I knew about this before you all did, because I mean, I know they were doing this because I've talked about it. They've done this. They've done agreements and they've helped other groups before who are black, and they get no credit for it. They get no. Today is the 26th of June. By the way, this weekend I can't cover the British and Irish Lions because I have to pay for access, and I'm not that interested in it. But I will be covering the Babas this weekend. The Bavarians, yeah, the Bavarians are coming. The Barbarians who are taking on the Springboks. I'll be covering that on Rugby Ascendant. Watch, there's a Zulu on my stoop, and you'll hear that saying frequently. I've said there's a Zulu on my stoop. I have the book. Would have been nice to see you get... Well, I know, but they both said they would interview with me, but, I mean, they're both being very difficult to reach. Let me see if I've got anything from... where's it at? No, Cornell, I'm not getting anything from him. Yep. Gadget M134. I don't know who Gadget M134 is, and that person is not blocked on this channel. I can check, but they're not blocked to my knowledge. So, it's June 26th. What did I say it was? Didn't I say it's June 26th? Oh, the White House asking for backup videos on your WhatsApp. Yes, I've also been saying it forever, PK, that they help many more people than just Afrikaners. Yep, an Afrikaans community. I watched this live. The representative of Bakala's speech was truly inspiring. I didn't see that. Their grandfather, who fought in the Boer War and World War I, passed away at the age of 104. Wow, that's amazing, Stefan. Wow, 104 is incredible, and fought in both those wars. Reminds me of Danny Wrights. Yeah, Donnie Wrights. Yep, you saw a premonition. Oh, Senior Fun Wyatt. That's what it was. I had a premonition this was going to happen. Wow. Okay. Good to know. I didn't realize that I was Senior Fun Wyatt. You said the world version. You're an American. Huh? The Barbarians are going to kick butt. Yeah, right. Yes, I got to make a video about 30% tariffs. Yep, I got a lot of videos to make. I got 30% tariffs. I've got the Steenhuisen comment, and I've got this one about what's being required here. White might be on the agenda. Well, it would be interesting to see if the State Department talked about what what Corny Mulder claimed. Let's go to the State Department. Excuse me, I'm getting hiccups here now. Hiccups. Carolyn Levitt briefs the members of the press. That's up right now.
work with the Senate and the House to see this bill on the President's desk for signature by Independence Day. Here in our new media seat today, we have Colin Anderson with the Washington Free Beacon, who will kick off our question and answer.
Washington
Colin,
Free
go
Beacon is
Thank you, Caroline.
not
We reported
traditional.
yesterday on a briefing from the Israeli Defense Minister in which he said the U.S. and Israel are working together to monitor any attempts from Iran to rebuild their nuclear program, and also that if Iran was to do so, the U.S. and Israel would work together to once again destroy that nuclear program. Is that aligned with the President's thinking?
Look, the President, as I said in those opening remarks, Colin, and thanks for being with us today, views the Middle East on its way to peace and prosperity.
I applied within seconds of you announcing this, Carolyn Levitt. I'm non-traditional media. Why haven't you invited me to the White House? You haven't even told me no. That was months ago. It's a fraudulent setup.
And right now we're on a diplomatic path with Iran. The President and his team, namely Special Envoy Witkoff, continue to be in communication with the Iranians and especially
I agree,
our Gulf
Tanya.
and Arab
Tanya.
partners in the region to come to an agreement with Iran. As for our alliance with the State of Israel and that friendship and that partnership between the United States and the State of Israel, I would argue it has never been stronger. And we see a new era in which perhaps some of these Gulf and Arab states can sign on to the Abraham Accords. That was one of the President's most signature accomplishments in his first term, and we'd like to see more of those countries.
Milk and honey. Touche.
Sustaining a long and durable peace in the region, and the President wants to do that through a diplomatic solution. But as he proved on Saturday night, he's not afraid to use strength if we need to do it.
My platform is larger than several of the C-cup bleach blondes that they've had on.
Was moved from Bordeaux. What about the other two sites, Isfahan and Natanz? And how can the President be so sure that no uranium was moved?
Well, what I can assure you is that the United States and our intelligence agencies and Director Ratcliffe and the President's entire national security team were obviously watching these sites very closely in the weeks and the days leading up to the attack on Saturday, which I will add was one of the most secretive and successful operations in United States history.
Hands down.
I think many of you in
Hands
this room
down.
would agree with that, because none of you in this room knew about the strike on Saturday until it took place. So we were watching closely, and there was no indication to the United States that any of that enriched uranium was moved prior to the strike.
From any of the sites?
Correct.
And then one more
Right.
thing, Caroline. Next week, the President mentioned there to be talks with Iran. Didn't mention any details, and Iran has not confirmed.
Look at the Barbie doll on the left.
Any potential talks next week?
We don't have anything scheduled as of now, but I spoke to our Special Envoy Witkoff at length this morning, and I can assure all of you we continue to be in close communication with the Iranians and through our intermediaries as well, namely the Qataris, who have been an incredible ally and partner throughout this entire effort. And as I said, this administration is always focused on diplomacy and peace, and we want to ensure we can get to a place where Iran agrees to a non-enrichment civil nuclear program. And there are many other requests that the United States has. Those details continue they're just starting. Of course, the operation was just on Saturday night, but we are in touch. And if there is a meeting, we will let you know, as we always do. Brian.
Thank you, Caroline. There's two, one on trade. On the July deadline that's coming up for the trade deals, is that deadline still hard and fast for the President, or is he now considering even
South Africa.
trade deals after that deadline, and where is he on that going forward?
I think the President has been asked this quite a few times by many of you in the media. I've heard him answer it at press conferences and at gaggles. He just spoke about it on Air Force One. The deadline is not critical. The President can simply provide these countries with a deal if they refuse to make us one by the deadline, and that means the President can pick a reciprocal tariff rate that he believes is advantageous for the United States and for the American worker, and he will continue to do that. But as for the deals, our United States Trade Ambassador, Jameson Greer, I speak to him frequently. He's working very hard, and he has had very good and productive discussions with many of our key trading partners.
And on the One Big Beautiful Bill, there's conversations on the Hill right now about the Medicaid cuts. Yeah, I'm curious if the final bill that the President's been talking about comes to him and it has Medicaid cuts in it, will he sign it, or would he rather just Congress do away with those cuts?
I think our friends in both the Senate and the House know exactly where the President stands on Medicaid. He wants to get rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse, and they are...
Take the illegal aliens off of, we'll save billions.
Follow up on that, on the big beautiful bill. Is there enough time for Congress to work through the issues it needs to work through? I'm saying, does the President need to move back his deadline a little bit?
We expect that bill to be on the President's desk for signature by July 4th. I know that there was a ruling by the Senate parliamentarian this morning. Look, this is part of the process. This is part of the inner workings of the United States Senate, but the president is adamant about seeing this bill on his desk here at the White House by Independence Day.
Israel, is there a date set for the Prime Minister to visit the White House yet? Is he coming in a couple weeks?
There isn't a date, but the Prime Minister has expressed interest in coming to the White House to meet with the President and come to Washington. The President is obviously very open to that, but we don't have a date. When we do, we'll let you all know. Kate.
The President suggested he was open to sending more Patriot air defense missiles to Ukraine. Is that going to happen, and were there any other assurances that he made directly to Zelensky when they met?
I'll let the president speak on that. That was a private conversation between he and President Zelensky. But the meeting was a good meeting, and it was a meeting towards progress. And the president, as he said, repeatedly wants to see this war come to an end, but I'll let him speak on that specific.
And Witkoff yesterday suggested that there would be more countries signing on to the Abraham Accords. What's the timeline on that, and which countries specifically is the administration looking to have sign on?
Well, the president is certainly hopeful that more countries
We'll say Greta Thunberg's
will
sister.
sign on to the Abraham Accords. Again, we want to see a long, withstanding, endurable peace in the Middle East, and that's the way to do it. And when the president met with the new president of Syria, that was one of the requests that he made for Syria to sign on to the Abraham Accords. I don't have a timeline for you, but this administration wants to see that happen, and our partners in the region should know that. Rachel.
Thanks so much. Just to follow back up on the meeting that the president mentioned about wanting to have this meeting with the Iranians next week. Clearly there's a willingness here from the administration to want to meet with Iranian officials. What is the holdup here in trying to schedule it? Are you experiencing any resistance from the Iranians?
No, have some patience. We just had this strike on Saturday night. The president secured a ceasefire. A lot has happened in the last week. He was just in the Netherlands. Now he's back home to have a big event this afternoon on the One Big Beautiful Bill and get our domestic priorities across the finish line. So we'll get there. And like I said, we're in constant communication.
And just one more, just the goal of the meeting. The president mentioned yesterday that it may not be necessary to have an agreement with the Iranians. What is the purpose? What would be the goal of this meeting?
Again, to continue moving forward towards a long-standing peace in the Middle East. Jordan.
Yes, Caroline, thank you. So the president had some harsh words for both Israel and Iran on Tuesday as he was departing from the NATO summit after they both violated the ceasefire. He said, what's your response to Americans who are worried the peace isn't going to last and think that Israel is trying to plunge us into another endless war on their behalf?
I think the fact that the president was able to successfully negotiate a ceasefire when nobody thought that was possible, it was a surprise to everyone in this room, it was a surprise to the world, but the president got it done because he wants to see peace in this world. He does not want the United States to be dragged into these conflicts. Again, he's not afraid to use strength if he has to, but the president has already proven he can put America first and deliver on peace at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive goals.
Or, you know, after Carrie Lake, she testified in the House Foreign Affairs Committee on the waste, fraud, and abuse and the raw, really, in Voice of America and USAGF. The president called for Congress to kill it. What does that look like, and is the president willing to sign an executive order?
Well, I believe that that action would have to be legislative through Congress, and the president directed Congress to get that done in his Truth Social post yesterday. If there is any executive action that can be taken to cut some of the waste, fraud, and abuse or do away with the program entirely, I'm sure our great Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, is already looking into it. And if it can be done, it will be done here at the White House. But Congress should act as well. To the back.
We're almost there?
Yes.
Caroline, thank you. The administration
To the back, and then Carrie, I'll come to you.
Said that the DIA report was low confidence intel. Can you share what other assessments are currently underway to get to the bottom of just how effective these strikes were?
No, it's none of your business.
Well, I can assure you what the CIA director said, that when we look at the entirety of the intelligence that we have to this date, it concludes that these strikes on the Iranian nuclear facilities were absolutely successful. It was a total obliteration, as the president said, and not only does our own intelligence say that, but also the Iranian foreign minister has said that. We saw Israel conclude the same thing based on their own intelligence. We also had the United Nations say that as well. So I think the only other time the United Nations, Israel, Iran, and the United States has agreed on something is that the sky is blue, but they all agree that Iran's nuclear facilities were completely demolished. And I would just like to reemphasize, you mentioned this was a low confidence preliminary intelligence assessment, and the entirety of that assessment was not leaked to the media.
Me
Only
too, Alan.
tidbits of that assessment were leaked to CNN. And we have seen this playbook run before, where you have people in the intelligence community or perhaps on Capitol Hill, we don't know, but I believe the FBI is investigating to find out who that leaker
Good.
was, because it's illegal.
It's
and they should
criminal
be held
act.
accountable for that. Leaked bits and pieces of an intel assessment to push a false narrative. And it's to the same reporter, I will add, Natasha Bertrand of CNN, who has done this in the past. In 2020, it was Natasha Bertrand who had 51 intelligence analysts falsely lie to her, but she still put it on paper for some reason, that the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation. We all know that's not true, right? We can all agree on that now. That was a lie from the intelligence community. Also in 2020, this same reporter, Natasha Bertrand, wrote that a top intel agency ruled out the man-made lab leak theory of the coronavirus origin.
Which was a lie.
Again, the president was right about that. This reporter wrote a lie from the intelligence community to seek a narrative she wanted to prove.
Yep.
And guess what? We now know that's the truth. Also, in 2024, Bertrand pushed the suckers and losers hoax. She also pushed the fine people hoax, which was taking the president's words purposely
Charlottesville.
out of context. And then last October, and I believe this is notable, Natasha Bertrand published an article in Politico from the intelligence agency. She said that John Ratcliffe was speaking without any evidence when he said Iran was attempting to undermine President Trump's presidential campaign. And then we, of course, found out that was absolutely true. In fact, the Biden administration declassed an intel report which said they had high confidence that Iran had done exactly what Ratcliffe alleged. They did run an influence campaign to hurt President Trump's candidacy. In fact, we know the Iranians tried to take President Trump's life. And so this is a reporter who has been unfortunately used by people who dislike Donald Trump in this government to push fake and false narratives.
Yep.
She should be ashamed of herself.
She should be
And that's not what reporting
fired.
is. Journalism
It's
is
propaganda.
trying to find the facts and the truth. And this week we saw this same reporter being used to push a fake narrative to try to undermine the President of the United States, and more importantly, the brave fighter pilots who conducted
She's
one
not
of the
reading
most
anything,
successful
Rebecca.
operations in United States history. And I think the American people fully know that this operation was a complete and total success.
Yep, well said.
Elizabeth.
Thank you, Caroline. The Miami Herald recently published a story saying the Trump administration was targeting migrant foster children. The Trump administration has denounced this as false. Could you clarify the Trump administration's position on protecting migrant children, particularly the 300,000 lost under the Biden administration?
Yes, I saw that Miami Herald article yesterday, and I was aghast at the headline. It's egregious to accuse this administration of trying to target foster children. That is not at all what is happening at the Department of Homeland Security. And I learned that the Department of Homeland Security actually tried to work in good faith with this reporter to get this story right, to explain that this administration is trying to protect foster children. We are trying to keep children out of harm's way, even if that means their parents are not law-abiding citizens. We want to protect children, unlike the previous administration, which allowed children to be trafficked and raped,
Yep.
and in some cases killed because of the open border policies. Unfortunately, the Miami Herald just completely degraded themselves with this report, despite having a full list of facts from the Department of Homeland Security. It's another example of fake news. And the May border numbers speak for themselves. Not a single illegal alien was allowed into this country because of this administration's border policies in the month of May. That means not a single child was allowed into this country, possibly with human smugglers or human traffickers. And we know that was happening at the rate of thousands and thousands of children every single month in the previous administration for 4 years. And you didn't see any reporting of that from the Miami Herald, but now they're trying to accuse this administration. And we tried to give them the facts, and they refused to report them. So thank you for bringing that report to light. Aisha. You too.
I know you're looking for
You're
this.
usually on the Hill.
I know, I'm here today. I know you're looking for this leaker. Is it your belief, I know you said earlier you're not sure if it's on Capitol Hill or at the Pentagon, but is it your belief that it might be in Capitol Hill?
It's Congress.
And how confident are you that you'll find this leaker?
Well, I'm not personally looking for the leaker. The FBI is looking for the leaker, so you'll have to ask them in the Department of Justice in terms of this.
Let's have a urinary issue if they're leakers.
But, leaking top secret classified intelligence is a crime.
It is. It's a federal crime. It's a felony.
just ask you about how you're going to be limiting intel to Congress. What would you say to lawmakers who say they have oversight privileges, they need this information?
No, they don't.
This administration wants to ensure that classified intelligence is not ending up in irresponsible hands, and that people who have the privilege of viewing this top secret classified information are being responsible with it. And unfortunately, clearly, someone who had their hands on this, and it was a very few people, few number of people in our government who saw this report, that person was irresponsible with it, and we need to get to the bottom of it, and we need to strengthen that process to protect our national security and protect the American public. Mary Margaret, go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline.
Sure.
You just laid out a lot of different stories about disinformation that Natasha, excuse me, that Natasha Bertrand had pushed during her time at Politico and at CNN. Why would any member of the Trump administration leak anything to her?
Well, again, as I just said, we're investigating who that leaker was. It could have been someone in the intelligence community,
Bureaucracy,
or it could have been someone on
civil
Capitol Hill
servants.
who had access to this document. The FBI is searching for that person. Go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline. The president was
And
obviously...
clearly it was done to undermine the president, to answer your question.
And I'm sorry, I really wanted to follow up on that really quickly. Before the strikes on Iran, we saw a number of other leaks about Tulsi Gabbard, the Vice President Vance. Is there an effort to divide the president's team when it comes to these leaks and which reporters they choose?
I do believe there's an effort on the outside of this building to try to divide the president's team on the inside, and sometimes you have
She's
to
trying to
look at these
turn it
headlines
around.
and laugh, because I've been in meetings where I know these things are
So the question was said from a standpoint that why, basically she's saying, why is it okay for them to leak things for some members so they can undermine them, like Vance and Tulsi Gabbard, but then when this leak, you're upset. All leaks are bad. The bottom line is some bureaucrat in DIA who illegally shared that information with a member of Congress, and they're going to go to jail, hopefully.
based on Saturday night.
Thanks, Caroline. The President was obviously very pleased with getting his NATO allies to increase defence spending. He's made the same demands of Asia-Pacific allies of the United States, including Australia, where I'm from.
Yeah, I can hear that.
How does the NATO result impact negotiations with Asia-Pacific allies? Does it, for say, strengthen the President's resolve to say, well, you know, our NATO allies have done it, now you need to do it too?
Yeah, I mean, look, if our allies in Europe and our NATO allies can do it, I think our allies and our friends in the Asia-Pacific region can do it as well. But as for our specific relations in those discussions, I'll let the President speak on those.
Can I just ask as well, when he had to leave the G7 early, he missed out on a number of bilateral meetings that were scheduled with other world leaders, including the Prime Minister of Australia.
Too bad.
Obviously, President Zelensky, he's managed to meet since then, but are there plans afoot to make up for those meetings with the world leaders that he missed out on?
Yeah, I think many of those world leaders understood the situation happening in the Middle East and the urgency and the need for the President to get back to Washington to monitor that situation. And obviously that was the right call, considering the success of not only the operation on Saturday night, but also the ceasefire that the President has since brokered on behalf of not just our country, but the entire world, frankly. But he has made up a couple of those meetings, and he has had direct phone calls with some of those leaders he was supposed to meet with as well. Not all. Ed.
Oh yeah, thanks, Caroline. So to clarify on trade, so what happens to the countries other than China on July 9th?
That's a decision for the President to make, and I will let him make it.
Okay, and secondly, so now that oil is just about upper $60s a barrel, when's the administration going to start refilling the Strategic Petroleum Reserve?
That's, again, a decision for the President to make and our Secretary of Energy. There's no imminent plans to do that, from what I understand. But as you have seen with the plummeting of oil prices in this country, it's because this President and our Department of Energy have really tapped into our resources here, and we have an increase of supply, unlike the previous administration that totally hampered our domestic energy efforts, but totally robbed and drained our strategic petroleum reserves. So when the time is right, the President will make that decision, but right now we are utilizing the resources that God blessed us with right here in our country to produce energy for our people.
You know, one more if I could, on the One Big Beautiful Bill, does the President believe the parliamentarian of the Senate should be removed?
I haven't spoken to him about
Why?
this, and I'll let him speak on it.
Why should she be removed?
However, again, he knows this is part of the process and the inner workings of the Senate, and he wants to see this bill done, and he remains very much engaged in the...
The parliamentarian of the Senate is the one who ensured that the process went legitimately and Trump wasn't removed from office during impeachment the first time. Why would he want to remove her?
Today, the President stated that these photos out of Bordeaux that were showing nuclear materials being removed, suspected of showing that, were just concrete workers. What intelligence is that based upon?
Oh,
The
shut up.
president shared that statement with all of you, and I already answered the question about whether uranium was moved prior to the strike, and the answer is no.
Is there a chance that the DIA report becomes public at any point?
None of your
I don't
business.
think this administration is going to get into the habit of,
Jeez.
of
Declassifying.
sharing classified, top secret information.
What a stupid
those
question.
Classifications exist for a reason, and I wish everyone who had the privilege of looking at these documents would respect that. Daniel?
Thank you, Caroline. You've been emphatic that the president's expectations for the one big beautiful bill to hit that July 4th deadline. You had a big meeting on Capitol Hill yesterday with the Republican Study Committee. Did you walk away from that meeting pleased with what you heard? Did it bolster your confidence that Congress is able to meet that the expectation of the president?
Yes, I did. The camaraderie at the Republican Study Committee was great. Members, expressed, their feelings about the bill, but as we saw, the bill passed through the House despite many people believing it could not. So the House is ready to receive this bill back from the Senate so they can pass it and bring it to the president's desk. So it was a great meeting, and Republicans are very unified. And we also talked about the mayoral race in New York City and how the victory of the Democratic primary candidate really shows how far left and unhinged the Democrat Party has become. And Republicans truly are on the right side of every issue in this country. We are on the side of no men in women's sports, on the side of low taxes, secure borders. So that was the topic of discussion. And the unity was strong and the camaraderie was high. And I know everyone looks forward to being here at the White House for the bill signing next week. Sure.
Thanks, Caroline. The Supreme Court ruled this morning that South Carolina is allowed to deem Planned Parenthood is not a qualified healthcare provider, and that will block it from receiving Medicaid.
I agree. It's not a qualified healthcare provider.
Does the White House have a statement on that ruling? And would the president support a standalone bill from Congress to defund Planned Parenthood at a federal level rather than letting each state determine it?
I'll let the president speak on that legislative priority, but as for the Supreme Court ruling, the president has always maintained that Americans should not be forced to violate their conscience and their religious liberty by having their tax dollars fund abortions. And
100%.
the Supreme Court ruled on that side today, or yesterday.
Then on Iran, but on a domestic matter, in January, President Trump revoked security details for several former administrations, including Mike Pompeo, Mark Milley, and John Bolton. Given the heightened tensions with Iran right now, is he considering restoring those security details?
That's not under consideration right now. Fran.
If I could follow up on trade, and then I have a question about the bill as well. Are you saying at this point that there's no plans to extend that July 8th and July 9th deadline? I mean, especially with everything that's been going on from Iran to the tax bill on Capitol Hill, is that under consideration at all at this point?
Perhaps it could be extended, but that's a decision for the president to make.
And as far as the bill itself goes, since the president has been back, what has he been doing beyond the event that he's having later today to try and get wobbly senators on board? Is he making phone calls, twisting arms? Is he having some people
Twisting
over at the
arms.
White House? Can you tell us more about that?
There have been meetings at the White House this week. I saw some senators rolling out of the Oval Office the other day, and the president remains on the phones talking to his friends in the Senate when necessary, and when they call, he picks up the phone. And I think that's why they greatly trust and respect his leadership. And we're having that big event later this afternoon at 4 o'clock. I would encourage you all to tune in. We're going to have some great everyday Americans who are in attendance. We'll have some tipped delivery drivers. I think we're going to have a barber from the great state of Arkansas here in attendance. We're going to have some law enforcement officers, some Border Patrol agents, and Tom Homan will be.
Come on, let's
speaking
wrap it
as
up.
well. So the point of this event is to show the American people how this bill works for them and how there are provisions in this bill that will change their lives.
Can you tell us which senators you saw rolling out of the Oval Office?
Nope.
I'll let the president speak on that if he wish. I don't share details about his private meetings without his permission. Emily, go ahead.
Today, the Justice Department announced it was opening an investigation into employment discrimination at the University of California, alleging they had race and sex-based quotas. Federal law bars hiring somebody based on their race or sex, but do you also object to universities working harder to make sure they have a diverse group of candidates to consider? And do you expect more investigations like this from DOJ?
I have not seen that investigation from the Department of Justice, but I can certainly check in. What I can tell you, it's the position of this president that we want to restore a merit-based society and culture in the United States of America, where people are not hired nor are they promoted based on their color of their skin or their gender. The president wants people to be hired in the workforce because of their merit and their skill, and I think most Americans agree with that. I'll take one more. Carrie,
All right,
as I promised you earlier.
So the Ayatollah Khomeini came out and said that Iran will, quote, never surrender to the U.S. That being said, what remains to do with the possible responses from Iranian proxies in the region and even in the
Good
US?
question.
Look, we saw the Ayatollah's video, and when you have a totalitarian regime, you have to save face. I think any common sense, open-minded person knows the truth about the precision strikes on Saturday night. They were wildly successful. And it's what led to the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Iran, which the president is very grateful for. And the United States of America remains prepared to defend our assets and our personnel in the region. And again, I would just emphasize the success of the strike that took place on Saturday night, and the world is a safer place because of it. Thanks, guys, for coming today, and you'll see the president at 4 o'clock. Thank you.
Oh, the president's on at 4. What's going on there? Okay, the president will be on at 4. I don't know what that's about. I'll have to check in on that, but I don't think I'm going to cover that, but that's pretty wild. I didn't know the president was coming on. Okay, so thanks, folks. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. Very welcome. Carolyn Levitt's brilliant. So Dana Perino, okay. Kayleigh McEnany, okay. Karine Jean-Pierre, a disaster. Sean, what's his name? I forgot him. He was a disaster, but it wasn't really his fault. It was a combative press corps. I think that Carolyn Levitt is hands down the best press secretary in the White House since Tony, what's his name? Tony, the guy that died from cancer. Tony Snow, I think his name was. He was brilliant. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. Well, I don't know what this is at 4 o'clock. I have to check into it. I've got some videos to make in the meantime. Johan de Villiers, I wonder if Kayleigh and team are assisting at Philadelphia Arc, Kali and all. No, I don't think they are, Johan. Thank you very much for the 35 rand. You're welcome, Anton. This lady 7 of 9 in Star Trek. Yeah. No, that's not her. That's Jerry Ryan. Russell, you're welcome. Well, I'm going to look and see what it's about. She's excellent. Yep. And that would be my 6th broadcast today if I do that. So anyway, I got to go make some videos, folks. There's lots of stuff to talk about. Alrighty, so that's going to wrap it up here. Y'all take care. Appreciate your time. And be sure to hit that like button. We didn't hit 1,000 likes. Come on, guys. 733 people still here. We got 912 likes. Can't somebody hit that thing? Okay, yeah, no rest for the wicked. I guess I'm wicked now. So anyway, well, the flying monkey crowd thinks I'm wicked. All right, guys. Cheers. See you shortly. Well, maybe. Well, watch for my prepared videos. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.